Okay. I hear an echo, so I'm going to try to get my sound out. And I know you hear a whistle, so let me. Okay. So we're going to fix this. So I'm going to go back over everything I said. Thank y'all for letting me know. Here I was just jabbering and expecting you to read lips, huh? Okay. So let me do something here. Turn this mic off. And so now can you hear me? I turned the mic on my phone. Let me get back into the comments. Okay, so can you hear me now? Okay, great. Okay, I just switched it. I kind of hear an echo, but you should not be hearing it. Okay. All right, great. Thank y'all. Thank you. That's why I'm glad at least I can see the comments. It's very different though. Okay, so back to what I was saying. The Stamp and Die bundle sale is going on right now through the end of June. And so all of the current Stampin' Up! Stamp and Die bundles are an extra 10% off. So that's a 20% off thing. Great deal. And many of you have taken advantage of that. And also there's 10% off all of our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines, the Mini Boss and the Big Boss. Okay. So that's a great deal. So if I can help you with anything, help you with an order, just reach out and let me know. I'd be glad to help you. Okay. As I was saying earlier, when you could not hear me, my streaming service looks very different than what it usually does. Usually I can see what my cameras look like and also what the comments on the side. This is completely different for me, so I'm having to adjust. So the main thing is I'm hoping that you can see my desktop, which I think you can. Okay. And then we'll get started here. And I was talking about Father's Day, okay, where when I was trying to decide what I was going to do for this week's live, when I realized that that was just around the corner, I thought I'd do that. So even if your father is gone, or you don't have a father in your life, you may have a father figure or know someone who's a dad. And even if you don't, you can use these ideas for anything. Just change the sentiment. It's great, just a neutral kind of card and little box that we're going to be making. Okay. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to try to remove my face. Let's see. Sorry, I know you're probably seeing my shirt here, but I'm going to. Oh, you don't see me, right? Okay. I'm just going to leave it. All right. Y'all, sorry about the craziness. Hey, Narisa. Okay. So just to be sure, you can't see my face, right? No face, just the desktop, correct? Okay. All right. So let's get started. We're going to make the little box first. And I am going to be using a combination of products. Okay. First of all, I'm using one of the bundles. No face. Correct. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I am using the Gone Fishing stamp set that has these Happy Father's Day and good things come. No. So glad that you're my dad. Okay. Be using those on the card. All right. And then that's on page 76 of the annual catalog. Now, these, although when it was first introduced was a bundle, it's not a bundle any longer, because usually that's just when a Stamp and Die or Stamp and Punch bundle is first introduced. Then it's bundled together for the discount. Okay. The 10% discount, which is currently a 20% discount. Okay. But now that it's carried over in another publication, the bundle does not carry over. Okay. So you can buy these separately. Okay. So that's just a good rule of thumb there, that if you like a bundle, get it while you can get it for the 10% off. Okay. So there's that. And then I am using also Unbounded Love. I'm using this die right here from the Unbounded Love bundle and the Just For You sentiment. This is on page 54 of the annual catalog. Our copyrighted images and sentiments there. And then for the paper, I'm using this, y'all, I love this colorful paper. Full of Life 6x6 designer series paper. Awesome. It is just so colorful and great for anyone, kids, dads, boys, you know, you name it. Anyone would be like just a burst of color and fun in their mailbox if you sent them this. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's get started now that I've shown you all of that. And I've chosen to use a base of Blueberry Bushel. Okay, and so we have an 8 by 11 piece of Blueberry Bushel cardstock. So our cardstock comes 8.5 by 11, correct? So all I had to do, showing up on the scoring board, I just had to cut off a 1/2 inch from the 8.5 inch side, and then I had the 11. Hey, Linda. Okay, so now we're going to score it with the 11-inch side at the top at 1.5, 4 3/4, 6 1/4, and 9.5. So I'm going to put that right there so I can see it. And let's go with 1.5. Oh, I got off track there. Literally got off track. Okay, then 4 3/4. Yeah. You know, I'm usually standing up when I do this, and I probably should since my face isn't on camera. Okay. Okay, and 6 1/4. And 9 1/2. Goodness. It's almost like it needs waxing. Okay, so there are our scores. 1.5, 4 3/4, 6 1/4, and 9.5. Okay, so let's turn this, and we're going to get it at 1.5 and 6.5. We're going to score. Okay, so now we have all those scores, and so we know what we have to do when we have score lines, right? We have to burnish all those score lines, especially important when you're putting a 3D item together. So, as I said, when you were trying to lip read at the beginning of the video, or not, because you couldn't see me, we are in Southwest Missouri at our cabin, and we have my youngest daughter, our youngest daughter, and her family are here with us now. So earlier, Lila, she's our oldest granddaughter. She's 8. And she said, "Have you finished with that class yet, honey?" "Not yet." Oh, she goes, "You haven't even started, have you?" I said, "I have not." So I'm just going to kind of rub those extra little score lines out. Okay. All right. So now we have that. So now we're going to do some cutting up to these 1.5 and 6.5 inch scores. So what we're going to do, and I found this pattern. I've made it before, but originally Sam Donald from the UK designed this box. And so it's the perfect size for what I wanted. Hey, Kathy. Okay, so now, let me see. I want to tell you, right, we're going to cut up straight on the rectangles. You see how we have squares and then the rectangles? And then we're going to angle the squares. Okay, cut up straight on the rectangle. and then angle. This just helps you put your box together a little easier. Okay, and you can just pull that off if you don't snip it all the way. So Jackie, my husband, and my daughter drove it to the nearby town to the vet because one of their dogs is having some trouble and needed a follow-up visit. So they're there, and then my son-in-law is with the girls in the house. So I'm out in the studio. They were out here earlier, and you know, kids love to craft. And what they were doing, they were finding my scraps on the on my desk because I was designing my next online class, just wanting to cut with my paper trimmer. And then earlier, the youngest one, Clara, was in here, and she wanted to draw. And so I gave her a bag full of my retired color Stampin' Right markers. She went to town, and I mean, entertained herself while I was working for a good while. So share your crafts with your kids. They love it. And then she wanted, do you have any other kind of crafts, honey? Something I can put, paint, you name it. They love crafts. Every time we go to the store, they want to pick out some kind of paint kit that they can put together. Okay, so you see what I've done here? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put adhesive on all of the squares. And put some along close to the score line up here on each of these. So what are y'all doing? You know, I got to thinking that, you know, it's summertime and people are busy and traveling and all the fun things, you know, I guess, you know, some of us are working, but well, not that this is so fun. I love doing this, but you know, where you're active and doing it, because I was working, but activities take place. So would it be in evening or morning be a better time for a live for any of you? I mean, this time works out for me most of the time because it's after lunch, it's during the heat of the day, and not going to interfere with most people's dinner. Okay, so you know, you see I'm taking the tear and tape protective backing off of each of these. Anyway, I got to thinking, you know, should I do an early morning? Should I do a late night? Which y'all, I got to be honest, you know, when you get to be my age, which not, I get tired in the evenings. I start losing all of my oomph, and I'm ready to start winding down. I used to craft real late at night. I don't anymore. I'll do sometimes for something fun, like if a friend and I are going to get online and talk, or, you know, while we're crafting, then yeah. Okay. All right. I don't want to chatter while I'm doing this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take and fold up and match the edge there. Okay. With the fold. Fold this. You have to do the same on both sides. Just start at one end and work your way. Then you're going to take this one and go toward the one you've just adhered. Go this way. Okay. And up. Okay. So now we're going to have the box top. So now you're going to take this one and go toward this way to make the lid. So it's going to be like a hinged lid or connected lid. Here a little bit. So I'm going to take my snips. Okay, so that's a dimension one. Well, I'll use this one. I have a clear ruler that I love. So 5 inches by 1.5 and 1.5. Okay, so it's a nice size box. So what I thought when I was talking to Jackie, I said, you know, I'm gonna make a little gift box. I said, do you have a little bait box? So here's like for little fishing lures, and that fits in there. In fact, a gift card or several gift cards or gift card and a candy. You could put like tickets to a movie, tickets to a sports game inside of here, you know. So it's a pretty nice size box. I mean, for something small, you know what I mean? It's not flat, so it's got some room in there. Okay. So now we're going to easily finish this. I'm going to show you what we're going to do first here. I've got a piece of that Full of Life Designer Series paper, and I'm going to Hudson and Henley. Oh, hi, Hudson and Henley. I just saw that. It's in front of that. So I'm going to glue that on top. So this was a piece of 3 by 4 3/4. So let's just put that on top. See, I told y'all this was easy. If it wasn't, I would not have been able to be jabbering like I was. Okay, so there we have that. Okay, now we're going to set that aside and work on our little tag. So here is the label that I cut from the Unbounded Love dies. Okay, so it has the little dots, the little perforations around the edge. It's a real pretty. What drew me to this were those. Okay, I'm going to do it up and down vertical, and then I'm going to take my Blueberry Bushel ink, open that up. Then I'm going to get my Stampin' Pierce mat and the Just For You from the Unbounded Love stamp set. We're going to ink this up in Blueberry Bushel and then just stamp right here. Okay, in the center, more or less. All right. Next, oh my goodness, I got ink. Let me clean that off. All right, so now, let me close that before I have a disaster. I thought, do I need to stamp like a little design on there? Do I put a fish on there and cut it? And I went back and forth, and I decided to try something artsy and fun. Super simple. Okay, so I looked at the blues here on the box, and then I started looking at my Stampin' blends, and I got a dark azure afternoon, a dark balmy blue, and light blueberry bushel. Okay, and I just drew a line along each side, because anything I thought of or tried to stamp on this just didn't do, because this is just kind of, what do you call it, abstract. And so I thought I need to carry that through to my tag somehow. Okay, so I did that. Then I took my light balmy blue, and then I just did little curves like that over that azure afternoon. And I didn't count the curves. I just did it as far as I could along each line. You could probably do that. You could do this with Stampin' Right markers too. But I thought I knew that the colors would kind of blend together with the alcohol markers. Now I'm taking light blueberry bushel and I'm going to use the bullet tip. Okay. So on these, I'm going to like do one toward the end and then two more and then one in the middle. So that's 5 dots. Just putting dots. So here and here. So this one's going to have 7, the longer one. Let's go here for the 5. And then 7 again on this one. Easier to space when you go from the ends and then work your way. Okay, so see, I thought that went just fine. Didn't have to use a stamp, just use my markers. And I am not an artist. I cannot draw. uh, and so I thought with your, what do you call it? Take your pick tool. So I'm going to put a hole right up here. We're going to do something with that in a bit. Okay. I'm going to set that aside. And then I wanted to do a closure that would be able to, the tag could be attached to it. Okay. And so I'm using, this is that Azure Afternoon from the Ribbon Trio that carried over, sheer ribbon combo pack. And truth be told, this color is not even in this paper, but there's so many different shades of the blues that I thought it would be fine, and it works. Okay. So I'm going to do this. And I'm just going to tie a knot. And I'm not going to glue it down. I'm not measuring and cutting my ribbon. And I didn't really, it'll be different for everyone. And this, like for a granddaughter, I probably would tie a bow. Okay. Okay. There we go. So there's a knot. And then I can take my paper snips and just trim. So this ribbon will be able to be, you can slide it off to open the box, okay? So I'm going to put that just like that. And then I'm going to take some linen thread. This comes in handy for so much, okay? And I'm going to cut about 6 inches. I'm not going to measure it. Let's see here, my scissors. And then I'm going to double it. Let's get this out of the way. And put it through right here. And then that leaves that loop over here on the other side. Then you can take the 2 ends, put it through the loop, bam. Then I'm going to take it and tie it around the ribbon so that when the ribbon is removed, the tag will be also. Okay. So tomorrow Jackie and I are taking the girls to Silver Dollar City. This will probably be our third or fourth time this year to go. So we love it. We get season pads. Just ask my friends. But I mean, there are a couple I will do. So it's mainly we take the kids for their rides and to see all the sights and things. Okay, so there you go with that. Now, if for some reason when you tie it, if you tie it on the other side and your tag is like going this way, you know, ends up slanting toward the other way, I would slide it over here on this side and let it lay across the front top of the box. Okay, so there's a simple box for you for any time really, but I wanted to think about dads right now. And now we're going to make a card that is going to coordinate with this. Okay, so how many of you actually make boxes, or do you just do cards and scrapbooking? Do y'all do boxes and treat bags and things? I know not everybody does. I like to when I need it. Thank you, Pam. Okay, so now we're going to work on the card. So this is the paper I decided to use to coordinate with this box. Same really color scheme, okay? And I love that burst, okay? So I needed to cover, I wanted to completely cover my card front. So right, a standard size card front is 4¼ by 5½. And I wanted to cover the entire card front, okay, to get the most designer paper on the front. And so what I did when I cut my paper, let me think about how I did it because I cut it. So what I did is I took the balmy blue and I put it going on the lower left, okay? Because I usually have somebody, how did you get it to look like that? Well, this is how I did it, okay? So I wanted this. I wanted to get mainly blues in here because that's really the general theme. And so I did 4¼ right here. Okay. And I cut, right? And then I turned it and I wanted most of the blue. Let's see. And I turned it and cut off a 1/2 inch to make it 5½. Show you. Is that clear as mud? And I decided to make it, you know, balmy blue base. So here's the paper that I cut. 4¼ by 5½. And see, I cut it like this. Cut the 4¼ here. Okay. Then I turned it and cut the 1/2 inch off here. All right. And so then this is how I want the card to be oriented on the card. So here is a 4¼ by 11 piece of blueberry bushel. It's a tint, portrait tint card. Okay. Yeah, Pam, I know you love making all the boxes and bags. Okay. So 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½. And again, 4¼ by 5½. And this is going to cover the whole card front. Now that is dynamic, if I have to say so. You know, I mean, look at that. The paper does the talking, you know. It's just so pretty. I mean, look at that side. It's like when I go to put the adhesive on it, I'm thinking, oh, do I really want to use that side? But yeah, I do. I love all these burst patterns. And so I'm covering the entire card front there. Okay. So next, I have another one of those same labels cut out. All right. And what we're going to do is stamp Happy Father's Day on the front. Okay. And I'm going to, once again, use blueberry bushel. So we're just using one color of ink here. I've used several colors of the blends, but they're all blues, so you could make do with what you have. Happy Father's Day, and then that's going to go in the center here. Okay, love this blue. Okay, so next, I'm going to put this out of the way for now. I'm going to use it again in a minute, but don't want any accidents. So now I wanted to carry this theme over to this, okay? Because it's like goes together. It's a set, matching set. So again, I'm taking my blends. Azure Afternoon. I'm just going to do the sides though, because if you see, the sentiment took up most of the height of the label, okay? But this still will work, even though it's not exactly the same. I'm doing the same pattern with my little curves. Okay, and then my blueberry bushel. Bullet tip for the dots. So again, I'm going to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now this is what I did. I said, okay, I'm just going to put that right there and be done. And I thought, I've got to do something else. So I took another piece of blueberry bushel and I cut it 1 by 4 1/2. And I'm just going to take my paper snips and banner cut the end. So I'm going to cut in about 1/4 of an inch and then cut up from the corners. Now, if you have a banner punch, you could use that on the ends as well, but I wanted it pretty small, okay? And I don't stress about if it's exactamundo. So let's... What language is that, Lisa? Okay. Oh, and I want to thank all of you for your birthday wishes. When was my birthday? Tuesday. And it was a special day. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's do this. So then I decided, okay. And I knew I wanted something else. So before I glue anything, I'm thinking about it. You know, what am I going to do? So I thought, let's use some of that ribbon. But I didn't want to tie it around. And so I cut 6 1/2 and make the loop at the top. What did I do with the linen thread? Okay, right here where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to cut again about 6 inches of it or more, 6 to 8. Okay, so what I did is I folded it in half and then I'm going to tie this around it. You can do a knot or a bow. I did a bow because I had plenty of thread. And then if it's too long, you can always trim the edges, okay, the ends. So this is just going to kind of hold it together. I'm going to slide it up a little bit. I don't want that loop at the top too big. I want it smaller than the tails. Okay, so I'm going to tie a knot so it'll hold it. Then I'm going to adjust the tails a bit. Okay, so now let's go ahead and tie a bow. Okay. So think about it. You could do happy birthday. Okay. And you could put just for you. You could do any sentiment on this card. So I know, if you're thinking, I don't need a Father's Day card, well, think about what you could use this card for, because it's a simple design. The paper just makes it. I'm going to trim this a bit, y'all, at an angle. Okay. So then, here we go again. I'm thinking, all right, what are we going to do? So I kind of move this over a little bit like that. And I wanted this to be here. Okay, so that's how I decided the design, because I needed to leave room for the ribbon. So that slid that over a bit, and it just, this little piece just gave this a background, like a layer, like we would layer something behind an image with a label the same size, or a rectangle or square the same size, circle. This just kind of gave it, grounded it, so to speak. Okay. So I know I'm covering that little, it's going to be covered by the label anyway, but so I'm putting it, I'm still thinking about here. I mean, all right. So I'm going to slide that over just a tad bit more. Okay. And then let's glue this baby down. Super simple, right? And then this gets a glue dot behind it. There we go. All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to do the inside. I'm going to do a stamped So Glad You're My Dad. Let's use the blueberry bushel again. Again, these sentiments for Father's Day are from the Gone Fishing stamp set. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So in the sample, here's my sample card. Let's see what I did on the inside. Oh, I didn't do anything. Huh. Okay. So I have this scrap piece that matches this that I could put on the inside, and which I think I'm going to do that, but I think I'm going to cut it down some. I don't like it that wide. I might cut down that white center, or what you could do, hang on. So I just cut down the center there, and I'm going to center it on here. I like that. What I was going to say is what I could do is take and do my lines with my markers, just like I did on the tag. So either or. I like using my scraps like this though. So I centered it to get, some of both colors. Didn't want all of to cut partial of these end ones off rather than just having 3 whole ones and then a little piece. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, say, if I didn't center that like that, where I have about the same on both ends, and I just did this, then it would cut off and just leave a little bit of that one. Okay, this way it just centers it. Okay. All right. So there's that. And let's put that inside. And I'll have to finish that other card. These are probably going to go to some of my granddaughters to give their dads. And there we go. All right. Let's see if I can. I don't know if you'll be able to see my face or not. I'm going to try to do it here. Okay. So I don't know if you can see me or not, but I'm coming on just in case. So, okay. So what do you think? Is it something you can use hopefully for then, right? Even if not for Father's Day? But I wanted to, you know, sometimes we think we do all the Mother's Day things and all the, you know, when you think about our guys too, and because they like for things to be made specially for them too. They do. Okay. All right. So any questions about anything? I'm so glad y'all are here and stayed with me, even with the sound faux pas at the beginning. Goodness gracious. Okay, let's look again. Gone Fishing were for the Father's Day sentiments, and then Unbounded Love for the sentiment for the box. And this label has all these great labels there. And the paper is this 6x6 pack that has all these beautiful colors in it. Okay. And oh yes, the special extra 10% off Stampin' Die bundles. So don't forget about that, and just take a look at them, because like, you know, the TV tune-in bundle I showed 2 weeks ago, the one I love, that one I think is less 31 something, or it's less than $35. So, and that's a great little retro bundle. I love it. So anyway, take a look at them and see what was on your wish list, and take advantage of that. So anyway, okay, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for staying with me and being with me here today. I'm Lisa Brown with Ink and Inspirations, inspiring you to create, share, and make a difference. Y'all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.